Look out! Here come former SportsCenter anchor Bob Stevens, esteemed basketball coach Rich Basirico, and Hall of Fame sports writer Curry Kirkpatrick. And someone's going under the bus.
Welcome in. Thanks for joining us under the bus. I have come certainly prepared. I throw people under the bus. All right. Anyway.
Good stuff.
Yeah, that'll get them going. Hey, I can easily start tonight's show with two words. Two words representing a guy who is not going under the bus. Waylon Mullins. Not under the bus.
No.
Greatest shot you've ever, better than Leitner?
Maybe. I don't know. That's pretty close. That's very close, right? Because both those shots had the teams go to the Final Four.
I'll tell you, if Connecticut wins it all, I think it's right up there.
Oh, without a doubt. But don't you think also because Duke was up by 15 at halftime, 19 at one point, for Connecticut to come back like that and held them to 28 points in the second half? That's pretty darn good. But to make that steal, everybody's gonna look back and say, well, what could he have done differently and so forth? They got the ball in bounds fine. The pass was made ahead. But then he put the ball on the floor right away. He never turned and faced. He kind of caught it and turned and put it on the floor right away. And then he got himself in trouble. And then on top of that, he tried to throw over the top, which is the worst place to throw it, right? If we all said right now, put your hands up in basketball, you put them above your head, correct? Why are we trying to throw the ball over the top? But, in that moment, it was a tough pull.
As I understand it, Shire was on the sideline with his arms up, telling Cade to throw the ball, not to hold it. But Rich,
Really?
if any of those three guys hold the ball, they didn't even have to pass the ball. If one of them holds the ball, they're going to get fouled.
Correct.
And they're going to shoot, and they're all good free throw shooters.
Right.
Caden himself is the 80%. People talked about Isaiah Evans should have been in the process of bringing the ball in because he's their best free throw shooter.
Well,
but little Boozer, Caden Boozer, I think he's an 80% shooter himself. So they're going to make the free throws. Rich, from a coaching standpoint, could you explain what Duke should have done, or did they do everything? It sounds like they did everything until the pass over the top that they should have done. But I think here's Shire's biggest mistake to me.
Okay.
That he didn't have Foster, his veteran guard, who was so good against St. John's. He didn't have him in the game at the end of the game because he's the senior, he's the veteran. He would have known what to do. Duke had three freshmen handling the ball, and they're great players, but Boozer to Sarr from Italy, for God's sake, and then the other Boozer. Three rookies handled the ball in that last play. No Foster.
Yeah.
And
Curry, one of the things about Foster is, as great of a game he had against St. John's, in this game he had no points. He took one shot, and he's not a good foul shooter to begin with. So maybe Shire didn't put him in for that reason. Maybe he felt he's not a good foul shooter. They did get the ball in bounds cleanly. That wasn't an issue. The first pass came in cleanly, and the second pass.
Okay, Rich, but why not hold the ball right there? Why not hold the ball and get fouled?
I agree. They could, maybe sometimes coaches want guys to get rid of the ball so they don't get fouled. They don't want to get fouled because they don't make the foul shots. But the first pass inbounds was fine. The second pass was fine. It was the third pass, but really the mistake that he made was catching it and turning. And as he's turning, he's putting it on the floor. That's the mistake he made. And you normally teach, and I know Duke coaches, I've heard them say over and over again, we teach about catching and facing. That's the first thing you do in the front court, the back court, turn and face. And he never did. He put it on the floor and then face, which is, it's too late. And then he caught himself, he had to pick up his dribble. And then, of course, he felt, I don't know, for whatever reason, he felt he had to pass it. He didn't have to, but he threw over the top, which is a huge mistake. But credit to Connecticut, they made the steal without fouling, and then the kid made an unbelievable. I mean, it was like a 45-footer. I mean, when you look back at it, if he misses the shot, everybody goes, "Oh, we handled it really well. We handled it extremely well.
Well, now,
Everything went great just the way we wanted." But he makes his shot. Now the Boozer kid is, made a huge mistake.
now we go to the Connecticut side of the thing.
Yeah,
When Caravan got the ball,
yeah,
I thought for sure he had just made his first three, the big
right.
to cut it to one,
Yeah,
like 10 seconds earlier. I thought for sure he's going to shoot it. Now Cameron Boozer was coming after him
yeah.
and closing on him, and that's why he threw the ball back
Right.
to
He
Mullen.
made I thought he made the right play. I mean, there was
so.
a defender coming at him, closing out on him, and he made the right pass. He wasn't wide open. I mean, I'm sure if he was wide open, he would have taken it, but he made
said,
the right. You got to give him credit for making the right, because sometimes these guys just jack it up and like, well, the time was running out. I need to throw with that. This kid got an open look.
Yep.
He got an open look.
And Mullins even said though he was surprised Caravan threw the ball back to him.
Right.
And now
right.
all he knows now he's got to shoot it. As he said in 4 seconds, I got to shoot it.
That's right.
It was like
but the form was great. I mean, he stepped into the shot. The form was terrific. The rotation, everything about the shot. I mean, when it left his hands, in my brain, it was like that's going in. That's going in.
He is a great shooter. I mean, that's why he was recruited. He's an Indiana kid, of course. And everybody wanted him. I know North Carolina really wanted him. We were in it to the end. And, he chose Connecticut. And Hurley said after the game, this is the greatest shooter in the world. We got the guy's got the ball. I want to ask you, though, in a bigger picture, I thought the whole Duke team deserved to go under the bus, and Shire included, because against St. John's, Rich, Shire went to the zone when St. John's got ahead, and that turned the game against St. John's. And he kept, even when he went to the zone, Duke kept the pressure on, kept running the ball up. Against Connecticut, they slowed the game totally down.
Yeah.
Don't you think? I mean, I think they froze a little bit. They played the clock rather than the team.
Yeah. I think they could have really put Connecticut away. I mean, Connecticut is, typically is not a great outside shooting team. I mean, their strength is going to the basket, their inside game, and even their 3-point shooting for the game was not very good. But that's the only way they can get back into the game itself. But yeah, Duke, it seemed like they were playing so to win and not to lose, and you can't play that way. You just can't play that way.
And they were playing the clock. I think they were trying to.
Yes,
that's why they
without a doubt. I mean, it's good. They're the number one overall team. I mean, they were selected to be the number one overall team going into the tournament. Which I hate to bring this up, but I don't understand. I don't understand that. I mean, Duke was 32-2 going into the tournament. Arizona was 32-2, and Michigan was 31-3. Does not Arizona and Michigan play in better conferences this season? I mean, look. Arizona's league is Houston, Kansas, Texas Tech, Iowa State, TCU. Michigan is Michigan State, Nebraska, Illinois, Wisconsin. ACC is Duke, Virginia, UNC. So why does Duke get the number one overall selection? And on top of that, I'm going to keep on throwing Duke under the bus because I think people really favor them, Curry, a lot. In the 3 games they played, they attempted 90 foul shots. 90. They made 69. The opposing teams attempted 41.
Well, we saw 2 of those games.
I know, but it's ridiculous. Yeah. So Siena loses by 6, and the difference from the fouling is 12 points. TCU difference was 15 points. St. John's lost by 5. They took 8 foul shots. Unfortunately, only made 4. Duke took 24 foul shots, and they lose by 5. Now, I can understand maybe that happened one game, but every game, even the Connecticut game, they shot 22 compared to 17, much closer, in that terms. Because you think Connecticut's got a foul because they're trying to get back into the game. But even in that game, they attempted more fouls. 90 foul shots compared to 41? That's bizarre.
We had this discussion over the weekend, though. You're talking about whether Duke should have been a number 1 overall seed.
Right.
it wouldn't have mattered for where they're put. I mean, they're still going to be in that region.
Well, true, but don't you think
Arizona,
Michigan and Arizona, the top two teams?
Yeah,
I mean, if you look at the Final
wouldn't
Four, they
matter.
should be playing in the finals.
If
I'm Michigan
Rich,
or Arizona, I'm thinking I wish I was playing Illinois or Connecticut than playing each other.
But Rich, the regions are already set up before they choose the field.
Oh, I know that, but my point is Duke should not have been the number one overall team. They're playing the fourth seed, which would have been Florida, and Florida get upset. Michigan and Arizona were 2 and 3 by the committees. What the committee decided on.
But they're still going to play in that region, which would have had them face Illinois. Now Connecticut faces Illinois. They wouldn't have played Arizona or Michigan in the semis either. What you're talking about, they should have had Duke play both Arizona and Michigan in the Final Four.
I just think Michigan or Arizona, one of those two teams should have been the number one overall. That's all I'm saying. Not Duke. What does Duke have over those two teams? They played in a weaker league overall. They had two guys that were injured. Isn't that always been the case of the committee? Oh, this team, we don't know if we should put them in because they have players hurt. Duke had 2 players hurt. Of course, they say they're going to come back and play, and they did. They did come back and play. But I mean, that's it's not that big of a deal. The biggest deal to me is how they favored Duke in terms of fouls. Boozer never gets in foul trouble. Every time he drives, it's a foul. St. John's is driving all night, all day long, and there's no foul. I mean, they go to the foul line 8 times in a 40-minute game.
Well, Bob, what do you think? You're a big Duke man. What do you think of this?
I'm ready to throw Shire under the bus for sure. I'm ready to throw the players under the bus. I think the guy I love throughout all of this, besides obviously Braylon Mullins, who everybody loves, Caravan, who, if he cuts the nets down on next Monday, if he cuts the nets down, he will be just the 10th player to do it 3 times, 10th starter to do it 3 times.
Wow.
The other 9 played for UCLA.
Played for UCLA, yeah. Most of the
that's pretty cool. That's pretty neat. Yeah. That's pretty neat.
Let's talk about
Illinois. What are you talking about?
That's right. You have Illinois winning
the whole thing. Who has Illinois through to the
That's right. You have the Illinois winning the whole thing. Do you want to talk about this quote controversy that you guys brought up over the weekend of Hurley headbutting Roger Ayers, the referee, in the celebration?
I've never. I mean, we could sit there. Ayers says, "Well, it's not that big of a." The reason he says it's not that big of a deal, in my opinion, is because he didn't do anything about it. That's why he's saying it's no big deal. He was not assigned to the Final Four. Do you know that?
Well, hold on.
Okay.
He's coming over to the scores table to tell Hurley, as he says, how much time is left. And Hurley's coming in, and they meet, and Hurley thinks he's going to chest bump something. And it was sort of, with Hurley, I don't know why Hurley didn't smile, because I think he was kind of mocking himself out to do the chest bump with the referee. As we know, people said, "Oh, he touched the referee." Coaches touch referees all season in every game now. I mean, they just do.
Curry, I agree with that. But I've never seen a guy with his head go up to an official and put his head up against his head. I've never seen that.
I'll grant you it was unusual. But I'm a big Roger Ayers guy. I follow him.
No, I think he's a great official. I think he's a terrific official.
They named 11 officials. What they should have done is, I think, and he's done the Final Four like 11 times or something. I think they should have put him on a list and put him, not have him ref the Duke games. That's all. I mean, he could easily have done that. I think they're embarrassing him now, and maybe they're penalizing him for doing what he did. But maybe he couldn't have avoided it. I mean, it looks to me like Hurley comes up to him.
Right. Exactly. Hurley came up to him.
How's he going to avoid it? Oh, he should have called a T.
I don't think he should call a T in that situation.
Yeah, you said that in your tweet with.
No, I said he could have called a T. I said I don't know what that is just like the guys running on the floor. They could have called a T. The game wasn't over. There was 0.4 seconds, and the team came on the floor. They could have called a T there too, but you don't do that in that
Boy,
situation. You just don't do it.
I'm surrounded by Duke guys. I don't know what to do here. Yeah, the Connecticut Reserve ran off the bench to embrace. Yeah. Was that before time had been called?
I think so. I mean, when he hit the shot, I mean, they all ran onto the floor,
Yeah,
right?
it was over then, wasn't it?
No, it was 0.4 seconds because Duke still got the ball back.
Okay.
Did they get the inbound? Okay. Yeah.
But there was timeout. There was timeout.
Right.
You can run can't you run on the floor and congratulate a guy after a shot during a timeout? Of course you can.
Yeah, but well, you look at that. Did Shire call the timeout like when the ball went through the basket? Those guys reacted and came on the floor. Would I've called it a technical foul in that situation? Absolutely not. I mean, that's just the excitement of the game. You can't do that, and they didn't do it. So that's good for them.
Thank you for that. Moving along.
Any of the other of the four?
No, we don't. No, we don't need that.
We don't need that. Okay.
Well, I want to talk one more thing about post game.
Yeah,
I thought Shire did the old coach's refrain, which kills me, as you know, where he says about the last play. It wasn't about people asked him about the last play. He really didn't have words, which is okay. I know he's just stunned, but then he said, well, that's not the only play. It was all the plays. It was all the plays. No, it wasn't. It was one play decided the game, John Shire. One play decided the game. Now, I want to talk about the Boozer brothers. These kids handled this devastating defeat so classy, so classy. Caden was in the locker room, and they brought, I don't know what went down, but they brought Cameron to the media room, and he was the only guy in the media room with Shire. And of course, he could barely speak. I mean, he was just stunned, which I understand. But
right.
they both took responsibility. I mean, Caden said, "I cost my team the season." Remember his quote? A freshman says that. Just think of this. Just think of this. And I only thought of this after the game. That's the last game those two brothers are going to play with each other.
Yeah.
Maybe forever, but certainly in a long time, depending where Caden, when he goes to pros and what team he goes with. They've played together all their lives, and that's the last game they'll ever play with each other.
It's tough.
But yeah, I mean,
that's the agony of defeat. He even came out. I read where he said, "I'll remember this for the rest of my life."
Well, yeah, everybody will. Everybody will, but especially
it's a shame what that athletics does.
But so classy, unlike their father, who after the St. John's game got up like a stupid idiot fan and waved goodbye to the St. John's fans. He got roasted in the New York media all weekend for that. Carlos.
He should get roasted for that. A grown man doing that. Come on.
Yeah, it was so classless, and his kids.
Let's throw him under the bus then, and let the kids not have to go that way. Curry, where were you for the Leitner shot?
Well, I've always regretted this. I was at another regional. I wasn't even at that regional. That regional was in New York, and ironically, I was in Lexington, Kentucky, where at Pitino coaching Kentucky against Duke in the other regional, and I watched that in my hotel room, and just killing myself that I wasn't there. And then I went out to eat at Pitino's restaurant after the game. Yeah. But
the one thing, in that game, we got to throw Rick Pitino under the bus because he didn't put anybody on Grant Hill taking the ball out of bounds, which I think is a huge mistake. But he has come out and said he would play it the same way. I think he's full of it. You don't play the same. I mean, he's got a 7-footer on the bench. Grant Hill's 6'6". You put him on Grant Hill, sure, he can make the pass, but now it's a rainbow pass instead of a line drive pass. And for him not to have somebody on the ball, I think was crazy, absolutely crazy.
Well, ironically, when CBS did a pre-game, one of the games, it was either Saturday or Sunday, of Grant Hill interviewing Pitino.
Yeah,
it was like a 3-minute thing, and Grant Hill never asked him, "Why didn't you guard me. I can't believe he didn't ask him that. Because later he was talking about it. He should have asked him that right there.
Yeah, that'd been a good question.
Right, we need to spend a few minutes on the women's Final Four, at least a couple of minutes. We got a lot of other people to throw under the bus. We're already 20 minutes in. Let's take a short break and come right back. You're watching and listening to Under the Bus, and we got some work to do. Stay with us. Welcome back to Under the Bus. Bob Stevens along with Curry Kirkpatrick and Rich Basirico. All right, we're not going to talk about Michigan or Illinois or Arizona because they're
well,
just
wait a minute. Wait a minute. We can do that because I think Arizona and Michigan are prepared to play one of the great semifinals of all time, maybe.
Yeah, but we're not talking about that. We're just talking about UConn. That's all.
Can I address one thing you asked in the last section at the end about me not being at the Laker game? Pat Forty of Sports Illustrated after the Connecticut Duke game wrote a story about the 12 greatest shots in the history of the NCAA tournament. I don't know if you saw that. The 12 greatest shots. And I was reading the story and figuring out I was at 6 of them. I wasn't at Leitner's one, but I was 6 of them. Yeah.
That's great.
Pretty good. The question I wanted to get to before we pick a Final Four winner out of the men, can the UConn men beat the UConn women? Because they're pretty good. The Final Four for the women, all chalk, all the number 1 seeds. All of them won all of their games so far by double digits.
Yeah.
So there's no Cinderella here.
No.
Meanwhile, while we're talking about that, I got an under the bus for Gino Aremia.
All right.
Here is his team undefeated in about 2 years, beating people by 50 and 40 and 30, and he's still bitching. And what is he bitching about this time is a couple of things. The fact that the Sweet 16s and the Elite Eights were at the same site as they've been for 2 years. He's bitching about that because he has to share the floor and share media availability and share practice times for 2 weekends. Then he brought up this, and I don't know if you saw this, but he brought up the balls and the fact that they're brand new balls right out of the box, and the rims are brand new. And he complained about this. He said nobody's making. He said there's no consistency in dribbling and shooting. People are missing layups all over the place. You bounce the ball and it goes to the ceiling. I mean, I wonder if he's got a point. If they're all playing, I didn't realize this. They're playing with new balls every time, and they're really bouncing so high. Same thing in the men's game.
Well, he can easily say to one of his players himself, say to the official, "Can you check the air pressure in this ball?" I mean, that's been done before. He could do that. I mean, shouldn't complain about it after the game is over.
Well,
if it's an issue, say to the official, "Please check the pressure on the ball."
Yeah,
how hard is that?
He complained about this between games when he had about a 45-minute press conference about all this stuff.
You just said the magic word, and that's Gino. He's got to play some games. He's got to do a little something. Make it, he's got to get his quote in there.
But get this. He's in his 25th Final Four. 25th Final Four. He's won 12. Okay, that means he's under 500 in the Final Four. Where is this greatness? Come on.
I think they win. I think they win again.
One, right? He's actually lost 13 of the big ones. Huh? This is the 17th year out of 18 that UConn has been in the Final Four.
That's crazy.
I mean, how nuts is that?
That's crazy.
They're playing South Carolina, who has been in the last 6 Final Fours in a row. Okay. I mean, this is UCLA Wooden kind of stuff these guys are doing. and I hope they understand how big it is, because there are a whole lot of schools who want to go to one sometime or anytime.
Never take
Rich,
it for
how many were
granted.
you
That's for
in?
sure.
Well,
I'm
it's
sorry.
not. I mean, these games that are blowouts. So, I tried to watch. I tried to watch last night, and the games go to blowouts very quickly, and
Yeah,
it's just not a game. And it's not. I'm
Yeah.
not sure this is great for the women's game. If
yeah.
Connecticut and UCLA are so
Well,
good.
it's the
South
same four teams
Carolina.
from last year, right?
Yeah,
The same four teams
exactly.
that made the Final Four. Yeah.
Exactly.
Rich,
Yeah.
how many Final Fours? I mean, you played and coached in a division that only had 6 teams in the entire state, so you had a
How
chance
many
to go to
teams? How many
a fair
teams?
number of Final Fours.
Well,
How
how
many?
many teams did you say we played? How many teams?
There are only like 6 schools in the state, aren't there? In your class? And,
6?
yeah.
No, there's more than
No, in your division though, Rich,
six.
in your division, you only have to play 6, right?
Yeah.
No.
Come
Back
on.
when we used to play in the Charleston region with Portugal and Pinewood, we had I can't remember. I think we had 8 schools then in our conference. Now there's other schools in other parts of the state that you play against. Like we
But
played against Wilson Hall, Heathville. I'm
if you
sorry.
won that 8, how many more did you have to win to play for the title?
You had to win.
Two.
You had to win to win the whole thing. You had to win 4.
Okay.
You had the
Congrats.
first round, then you had the first round, quarters, semis, and then finals. So to win the whole thing, you had to win 4 games.
And three of those schools had a population of what, 48?
No,
52?
we actually played. We played upper division. We played the bigger schools. We were
They should
classified as a
have done
2A school. We played up to
right?
3A.
We're just kidding you, Rich, but I do have a
I
question.
know.
I do have a question. Did you ever coach a game where the horn didn't go, didn't go
Yes.
off?
Yeah, yes. We
Seriously?
at Sea Pines Academy.
Really?
We played there. They told me before the game, they said, just so you know, we have to manually stop and start the clock. That was before the game. Well, guess what happens? We hit a shot at the buzzer, and they said it was no good because the clock was. So this is the clock operator pushing the button, and they said that we got the shut off too late.
Oh, this
So
is you playing. This is you playing against CPAN.
Right, in their gym. Their clock operator. We hit a shot to win the game, and they came and said it was too late.
Was Eddie Ladd coaching CPAN?
I don't know if Eddie was or not.
We should ask him about that.
I don't know.
Well, that horn stayed on the Houston Toyota Center for 11 minutes, and it felt like an hour and 11 minutes. But the great part of it was that who's the announcer? Who's the announcer we like so much? I can't remember his name. Who's doing the gaming? Hartley or something. Oh man, I can't remember. Robbie Hummel was doing it, but Kevin Harlan was on the game, and he kept doing some funny lines. It was really.
Kevin Harlan is underrated, even as many big games as he gets to do.
I wish he was doing the main game though.
Yeah.
He said at one point. He said, "Surely there's a horn expert in this building." and then the video board went out, and then they were using handheld horns to indicate substitutions, and that's when Robbie Hummel said, "This will take you back to your days, Rich." Robbie Hummel said, "This feels very JV."
All right, so we got to pick some winners. We still got another segment because we got a bunch of other stuff to talk about. But winners of the Final Four. Who wins this whole thing? Men and women.
Okay, I say I'm going to go with. I think the Arizona Michigan game is going to determine whoever wins that game wins the whole thing, and I think Arizona overall has the better talent, very close Michigan, but I think Dusty May is a better coach than Tommy Lloyd, and I'm going to give my pick to Michigan.
You're killing my future North Carolina coach, by the way. Did you see where Michael Jordan apparently called up Tommy Lloyd about the North Carolina job?
No, Curry, you don't want Tommy Lloyd.
That's the story.
Yeah, here's what I heard about Arizona.
I wouldn't mind Tommy Lloyd because of his great European connections.
Well,
that's what I would
true. That's true. But I think when it comes down to a game with him against Michigan, I think Arizona has a lot of talent, and but I just think Dusty May is a little bit better coach than Lloyd is, and they match up against each other extremely well. I think whoever wins that game wins the whole thing. But
Yeah,
talking about him
I'm not
coming to
saying-
North Carolina, his buyout's $11 million.
Well, I know all the numbers. I'm just telling you the
Curry
rumor.
can write that check.
The
That's
rumor
not
over
That's
the
true. Yeah,
weekend.
Curry could write that check. Yeah,
Well,
that's true.
Michael Jordan could. That's the important part. If he's
Yeah.
talking to Tommy Lloyd, he's
Right.
getting involved, which I like. He's getting
But
involved.
do you honestly think that he would leave Arizona? Do you think he would?
Yeah,
You would? Yeah.
I do, because of what he's said in the past few days. He has, like these other guys have just
Right.
sort of, and he's
Well,
like,
how about Billy Donovan?
I like Donovan too. I think those are their two guys. Yeah,
Okay.
that's obviously two guys because they're waiting. They're waiting all this time.
Right.
So,
It's got to be somebody from the Final Four or Billy Donovan.
yeah. Okay, I'm going to pick Arizona. I'm going to stay with my pick. I'm going to pick Arizona to win,
Okay.
and I'm going to go out on a limb and pick the Connecticut women to win.
I think the same thing. I think Connecticut women win too. I do. I agree with that.
The question
Curry,
is,
you have Tommy Lloyd winning the national title and then going to North Carolina.
yes, I do. Well, fighting Billy Donovan for the right to do it. Yeah.
Ooh.
Bob, who do you pick?
Go to the Connecticut women again. Just when then we'll go to Bob. Connecticut women beat South Carolina by 28 or something in the final last year, right?
Yeah.
Do you think it'll be more or less this year? More or less.
Less.
That's a good bet.
They'll win by,
That's a good
I
question.
say, between 15 and 20.
Yeah. Well,
Dawn Stanley did nothing last year in coaching wise when they went on a run. She did nothing. She never called a timeout. She did nothing to stop their run. She sat on the bench and kind of didn't do anything. She didn't do anything.
I think she wants this one. I think she got embarrassed last time.
Yeah.
And I tell you what. Yeah, UConn will probably win it, but UConn UCLA in the title game could be a really good one.
Yes.
Did Dawn Staley complain
I
about
have to take Illinois. If I gotten them this far, and they have Curry, they have what Tommy Lloyd sort of has, and what North Carolina thinks he could bring to them, and that's foreign players. I think these kids out of the Balkans, and again, I'm pro Balkans. Drazen Petrovic's ghost lives, and they're gonna. I think Illinois is gonna give them all they want.
They're all pros. They're all pros on that Illinois. They played in the Rich.
No, I think Illinois beats Connecticut.
Yeah,
I do think Illinois beats Connecticut and gets to the final for sure.
I do too, and I think they make it a great game in the final.
Yeah.
I just think the other team's going to win.
Okay, all good stuff. All right, we've still got other guys to throw under the bus. We haven't even started on Tiger Woods yet, or replacement refs in the NFL, or the ABS system in baseball. We got a few minutes left. We're going to do all of that when we come back and throw folks under the bus. Welcome back to Under the Bus. Bob Stevens along with Curry Kirkpatrick and Rich Basirico. I mean, it's almost beating the dead horse to throw Tiger under the bus. I think I would like to throw under the bus all of the people who thought that after what happened last week, he might still play in the Masters. Are you kidding me? No, he is now, of course, today come up and said that he's going to take some time off and get away from it all and try to get his life back together again. But Tiger needs a driver.
Why does
the golf club? He needs a driver.
With all the money he has, why does he not have a driver to drive him around?
Several drivers for different places, for different areas of where he's going.
His son is old enough to drive now. Give the kid something to do for all that money.
But you know what's interesting? He came out today and said that I guess he told the police that he was looking at his phone and didn't realize the guy in front of him stopped. But then later in the day, he says, well, he's going for, I guess, some help. So if he was looking at the phone, is he getting help for not to look at his phone? Or is he
And
getting help for
he also
drinking?
said he was changing the radio station. So he's got one hand on the radio station and the other hand is looking at his phone. That's a nice way to drive, Pat. That's a great way.
Just take his license away for a while and
Yeah. Oh, no
Get a
question.
driver. Get a driver. My
get a
goodness.
driver. There you go. All right. The NFL is talking about replacement referees. We'll have more time to talk about this in the weeks ahead. Did you guys know what NFL referees get paid?
No.
Ballpark. How much do NFL referees get paid for a season?
No idea.
$350,000 a year is the average salary of an NFL referee.
Whoa.
Wow.
That's pretty good.
That is, for 16 weekends.
And the NFL would like them to be in a little bit better shape. Would like to control what kind of shape they're in and don't want to pay them only 5% more or whatever. That's all they want to pay them. And the Referees Association wants a whole lot more money and less work. And the only thing they got in their back pocket is how bad the replacement refs were when we went to them in 2012. Anyway, we'll have more time to talk about that.
I would think, wouldn't you think they'd be able to get some high-end college guys to come their way if they pay them that kind of money, good money?
Then
that's who they're talking to. That's who they're talking to now. Get these college.
And so those guys are that bad. I mean, they could do major college football, but they'd be terrible in the NFL.
Well, everybody remembers.
Complain about the refereeing in college football. Oh my God.
Bob, isn't everybody talking about the last time they got substitute refs and there was a famous game, Fail Mary or whatever they called it, right?
Yeah. I mean,
because one referee called it one way and the other referee called it the other way, and it's total confusion.
Replacement refs were awful. I mean, that was a bad idea. And so hopefully it won't come to that. We got more time to talk about that. I want to talk about the ABS system in baseball. I've been watching a lot of baseball this opening weekend of the season. I think it's terrific. I think it's really neat. It is showing how good the umpires are in some cases.
Right.
And in the cases of C.B. Buckner and Chad Watson, how bad they are. C.B. Buckner had 6 of his 8 balls overturned. And Chad Watson, I don't know which game he was umpiring. He was 7 for 7 calls overturned.
Wow.
And don't
one, and it turned out to be the other.
But didn't the Yankees have 3 consecutive batters up? Question, right? Seriously, they had 3, and they were all the 3 Yankees were correct on making their appeal.
Give them credit.
So,
give the
here's what surprised me. Don't the catchers have the best percentage of calling of challenges?
Yeah.
Over the pitchers and the manager.
They know what a strike is and what it isn't, and most teams will only let their catcher do it. I won't let the pitcher. Very few pitchers are doing it because they think all they throw is strikes.
Oh, okay.
The catchers are in charge there, and strangely enough, they talked about the Kansas City catcher. What's the name? Because he's been there forever. Anyway, he's considered not a very
Spanish guy.
Bringing him in, pardon?
It's a Spanish guy.
Yes. He's terrific. Going to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
He's not a particularly good pitch framer, and yet he has convinced the umps. When he has protested, he's been right, like 7 out of 8 times or something like that. It's bizarre. But I think it has become a big deal for the fans, and it's hugely popular. When in Cincinnati, when C.B. Buckner was having his disaster, back-to-back pitches to Eugenio Suarez, the Venezuelan hero. Suarez complained on back-to-back pitches and got them both, and ended up.
Are they doing anything? These umpires that are being embarrassed that overturned all the time. Is baseball doing anything about them, or are they penalizing them? Or?
Hopefully, they're not going to let them, umpire the big games, the playoffs. But I don't know.
Yeah, and it puts a lot of pressure on the umpires, doesn't it? It puts a lot of pressure on them, big time.
embarrassing.
Let's put a little pressure on him.
No, yeah, I
throw the
mean,
other guys. I got another set of guys to throw under the bus, and then we'll maybe start to wrap things up. The ball players are all measured, and you know, Curry and Rich, you guys have seen enough programs with the measurements, heights, and weights of players that are stupid. Yeah. Well, baseball actually had, because of the strike zones, they had to measure the guys so that their strike zones will be what they should be. They found out that more than half of the players are actually shorter than their program height. And
Gee, what a surprise.
74 of the 6-footer guys who said they were 6 feet tall, or guys that we thought were 6 feet tall, are 5'11". On the other side, 47 guys are actually taller than we thought they were. So,
but those are the tall guys anyway, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah. I guess they said. I just read that 47 of the players are taller than we thought they were.
Well, Rich has always told me he's 6'5", so I kind of knew that one.
Yeah. I wish I was. I wish I was.
You might have been 6'5" before you got, like the rest of us, got old, and we're all a little shorter than our program height back in the day, for sure.
That's for sure.
Any other topics, or we want to do a final throw under the bus?
I have my person thrown to the bus.
Final throw, Rich. Go get
Okay,
it.
well, it's not it is a person. It's actually a college. LSU for bringing Will Wade back.
You got me.
How do you bring Will Wade back after all these recruiting violations? You got to be kidding me. How do you do that? How does LSU do that? They fired him because of recruiting violations. After a couple of years, they go, "Hey, he's a different person. Let's bring him back." That's a joke. That's an embarrassment. It's embarrassing that Will would leave NC State after coming out and saying, "Man, we're doing the right things here at NC State. We're going to be competing for championships and this and that." And then like 2 days later, he's leaving. LSU, I've lost so much respect for their school and program for doing that.
Hey, imagine the meeting, Curry. I don't know. You've been around colleges more than I have, even. Do the football coach and the basketball coaches, are they ever in the same room? Ever?
Oh yeah, yeah. Sometimes they're good friends. It depends.
Okay.
You know, I think it depends
maybe
on
a big donor thing. But boy, put Will Wade, put Kim Mulkey, the women's coach.
Well, let me get
football coach Kiffin. Get them all in the same room again, and can you have a room with enough headspace?
Yeah, really. Let me chime in on this. I mean, Will Wade has been the slime ball of the year several years in a row here. And I think I told Rich this story, or maybe he was there when we were at a game a couple of years ago, an NCAA tournament game. I sat next to John Claherty, who's one of the old veteran refs and a very good ref. His son is now reffing now, but he was there watching his son ref the NCAA game. And he was telling all these great stories about players and coaches and stuff. And I asked him about Will Wade, because we were in the category of cheaters and slime balls and scoundrels. And John Clary told me Will Wade is the biggest cheater in the history of college basketball. So that's enough for me. So when he leaves NC State, Rich and Bob, he does it. He notifies the athletic director with an email from his agent. That's how he left. He couldn't even tell Boo, the athletic director of North Carolina State, that he was leaving. His agent sent him an email. I mean, this guy's he's out there. He's out there. So he goes to LSU, and now he's with Kiffin and Kim Mulkey. And let me read you how the New York Times described this trio. He said, the athletic department at LSU now boasts the most unlikable, objectionable, insufferable trio to occupy head coaching jobs under one roof ever. Somebody said LSU's got to get an exorcist to figure this out.
So Will Wade was going to be your under the bus too, Curry?
Yeah, well, and the whole LSU athletic department, like Rich says. I mean, and like you say, Mulkey, Kiffin, and Will Wade aren't going to be in the same room, but that
No.
doesn't mean other places the coaches will be.
Okay. All right. The good thing is they have the governor as their athletic director.
Oh, yeah,
Oh
there
yeah,
you go.
he's a
Yeah.
beauty too. Yeah, he's a beauty.
So he's okay. All right. We got the final 4 picks in. We put them on tape.
Oh, by the way, I didn't get this out. I told Rich this is best. Maybe I texted all you this, but the other night, ironically, I got a call from Dale Brown, the former, coach at LSU, who's 93.
Wow.
And he still lives in Baton Rouge, and he's keeping up with this, and he knows all about Will Wade. And I asked him about Will Wade. He said, Curry, this is a bad guy we got coming back here, a bad guy. And of course, in his heyday,
I was going to say Dale Brown was
Dale Brown was the Will Wade of his heyday, of course. We had him on the cover one time. I did a cover story about all the swan dropping at LSU, and we had Dale Brown on the cover.
Shenanigans.
Yeah.
That should be in fact, that's a good nickname. Too many teams are named the Tigers anymore. LSU should be the Shenanigans.
Yeah, there you go. That's perfect. That's perfect, Bob.
All right, we've put enough time in. We've had enough laughs. We've thrown enough other people under the bus for 1 week. Oh, but there's always next week, and we'll be back to do it all there. And again, I throw people under the bus. So do you guys. And we thank you all for joining us. Take care.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you next week.
Sounds good.